Hey, Apoorva Pande here. This video is about financial systems that'll get you to tens of millions a year in your tech company. So you probably know a lot of this stuff. We have a different take on it because as you're growing your company, you don't need the full, $100 million, $1 billion IPO kind of financial system. You want to iterate your way there, just like you MVP a product and you iterate its way to its final system. Like you want to do the same thing with your finances. And so what we start off with is a rough financial model because you probably don't have that much time. You need a general idea of what you're going to spend when you get to a certain revenue level to get to that next level. Okay, so there's another video about the cash financial model. You can always pull that up and see how we do this with startups. There's a couple key things you want to be identifying for to make sure your company can scale from its current state, and maybe you have to change some things to get it to scale. But having a rough financial model, not a fully fleshed out one, especially if you haven't raised money, it'll just make your life a lot easier. From there, we want to get to a rough valuation model. There's times where the money looks okay, but your net worth is actually going up. And you might make some wrong decisions based on just cash or based on just revenues versus the ultimate goal that you want to have for your company, which is, the valuations. Maybe you want to sell it, maybe you want to scale it. You want to have some sort of North Star that quantifies if you're going in the right direction and if you're helping more people. And so that valuation really helps. So having a rough valuation model of your business is key. The other thing is some people scale with services, some people scale with software, some people scale with both. Knowing where to put your time, knowing where to direct your team is absolutely key. And when you have a valuation model, you're able to do so in a better way. Okay, after this, we want to make sure that you get an executive summary of your financial model. An executive summary is like a one-page document that you want to get once a month from your team on what's going on with their financial model, what is actually happening right now. Okay, so you want that. If you end up raising money, or maybe along your journey, you're going to have people that you like that want to invest with you, having this executive summary makes it a lot easier for them to just say go on the investment without having to do like a full due diligence cycle. So it's really key to have one of these executive summary financial models. It's also good for hiring. So you're hiring someone new, a senior executive, maybe a C-level executive, maybe you're hiring a board member. Giving them this speeds up the onboarding so fast because you can just put everything into one page, be really concise, have a lot of brevity, and be able to why you're doing what you're doing and how it's going very easily. Okay, from there, after you have those three things, you want to get into the full 5-year forecast. Okay, this is not to call your shot and say, I'm going to do all these things in 5 years, because rarely do companies consistently hit their revenue goals until they build that system. You want to see how fast you need to grow to hit your goals. And then you want to measure your team against that growth rate. And so Mark Benioff has a great management strategy. His company needs to grow 20% year on year. And so for every manager inside his company, he's able to talk to them and say, hey, are you going 20%? Yes or no? If no, let me help you get there. If you can't get there, and if you're getting there, great job. And it's a binary yes or no if this person's doing well versus having to rely on a lot of emotions to notify you if things are going wrong. So a full 5-year forecast will give you that clarity. It's not something that you have to guarantee. It's something that gives you the insight on how your team is doing, how your business is doing. And you can make better decisions from there. Okay, from there, there's times in your business where things will be going well. There's also times where things won't be going well. Throughout your journey, you're going to have to do turnarounds within an organization. There's nothing better for a turnaround than a 13-week cash analysis and then doing budget versus actuals on that cash. Especially if you have multiple products, especially if you have wonky payment terms, you're not going to know when cash is coming in, cash is going out. It's kind of going to be up in the air. So having a 13-week forecast, not too long, but short enough to give you the peace of mind to be able to know that if your company is going to survive or not during this turnaround time is absolutely key. We've done a lot of turnarounds. Without this, I don't think any founder would have made it through. It's just too much uncertainty. And so knowing this is absolutely key. Okay, next is the automatic monthly investor updates. If investors want something every single month, if you don't have investors, you're the investor. You should be getting updates once a month. And this is not the generic just P&L, cash flow statement, and balance sheets, okay? This is also a memo on your high-level goals, the initiatives you have in the company, as well as how things are going, questions that your team has, and the values and principles that they're applying to get to the end goal and if they're applying those values and principles well. Okay, so having this monthly investor update will absolutely change the way you operate your business. Jeff Bezos doesn't go into a meeting until he gets this memo. Okay, this memo is absolutely key. And if people show up to the meeting without reading the memo, he'll sit them down and make them read it for 20 minutes. There's even departments in his organization where people are mandated to read it in the first 20 minutes to just get on the same page. So getting yourself on the same page with your company, like I said. Okay, once you have those investor updates set up, you got to get invoicing, bookkeeping, taxes, and payroll off your plate. A lot of founders just do it themselves, and that's fine when you're at millions, but to get to tens of millions, you want to make sure that these things are happening on their own and you're not the bottleneck for it. If you are, you become the bottleneck for money, which is the bottleneck for cash, and the cash in your bank is the gas in your tank. It gets you a lot further, a lot faster if you have gas. And so we want to make sure that you're not responsible for stopping and mapping out these gas stations. Someone else is. And they're making sure that you have enough gas so you can focus on the journey of where you want to go versus where you are and how far a gas station is. You don't want to be chasing money all the time. You get this down, you'll be able to operate your business much better. For whatever reason, this is like one of the last things a lot of founders that are in the millions or even like 500K to a million, like this is the last thing to give up. Find a system to do it. If your invoicing is custom, you can still find a system to do it. The systems exist. And again, a lot of you probably know all this, but in case you're not there, this will unlock a lot for you. Okay, lastly, having a templatized pitch deck that's attached to your financials, and then raising that capital, having an investor CRM, so you have a pipeline of investors, will change your ability and your certainty and your confidence. Okay, knowing that you can bring money in if you need to will change the way you feel. Like you probably have a pipeline for CRM, probably have a generic idea of how much cash is coming in. Locking that generic idea into an actual, predictable, reliable system, not just on the prospect side, but also on the investor side, you'll enjoy it. Like genuinely, you'll enjoy it a lot. So there we go. Those are the 8 subsystems for the financial system that we put into people's companies to get them to tens of millions of dollars a year in revenue. If you install these systems, you will be happier, lighter, more focused, more energized, have better initiatives, and just feel clearer on a day-to-day basis. You'll have much less anxiety. Okay. Once these systems are set up, you want to make sure you got 3 months of cash at least, and that's like 3 months of your payroll plus expenses in your bank. And then you want to stretch that. There's a lot of videos where Bill Gates, you'll notice him just like scribbling on pieces of paper while he was running Microsoft. He would just scribble on pieces of paper all the time. And this is a rumor. I'm not sure this is true, but I heard this came from a conversation he had with Warren Buffett when he was starting off. You can go to Warren Buffett and say, "Hey, Warren, I'm feeling massive anxiety." And Warren Buffett told him, leave 12 months of your burn rate, your expenses, in your bank account, and the anxiety will disappear. And so I would love for that anxiety to disappear for you. And that anxiety might not be showing up as anxiety. It might be showing up as like uneasiness, or, maybe you push yourself a little bit too hard. Maybe your team pushes themselves a little bit too hard. People start burning out. Great operators, people that can build businesses that are tens of millions, they don't let people burn out. They don't let that anxiety go too far. And so setting that goal is absolutely key. So if you can set up these goals inside your business, and if you can set up these systems inside your business, you will live a happier and more fulfilled life.